Good evening, everybody out there watching, and a happy new year 2024. My name is Dirk Hartig. I've been a trader and investor for 25 years. And yeah, talking about 2024, I hope 2024 is going to be a prosperous year for you. I hope 2024 is going to be a profitable year for you in terms of becoming and being and staying profitable. I want to do my part of that job here, since this is what we do here on The Good, the Bad, and the Bitcoin. I want to talk about my personal predictions for the financial markets for 2024. I'm going to talk about my precise predictions for the stock markets, for individual stocks, and of course also for cryptocurrencies. I mean, how could we not talk about cryptocurrencies with the Bitcoin halving now only being a mere 4 months down the road, after all that we've been through in 2022 in terms of bear market and 2023 in terms of bull market. Of course, this is something that needs to be on our slate as well. And yeah, I said it already, precise. So everything you are going to hear on this video from me in terms of predictions today is really something that I do myself. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. That's why I'm giving you very precise numbers here tonight. No could have, should have, blah, blah, blah. You know, I have to hold myself as a trader and investor accountable, of course. And I want to share this very transparent with you one-to-one. As you might have noticed maybe already, I'm giving this information away for free. So there are no hidden links that you have to click or like things that I want to sell you here. Everything you hear here on this video is completely for free. The only thing I would kindly ask of you, of course, is to leave me a like, subscribe to the channel, and maybe leave a comment. If we have some time later, I might also have the time then to answer some of your questions. All right. I would say let's jump right into the action. You heard it just now. I said everything I'm telling you here is very precise. However, maybe you want to pause the video here for a while and read through this cautionary note. Of course, this is no financial advice. I have been doing this for such a long time, for stocks, especially for 25 years. I'm usually pretty on point with my predictions. However, of course, I also cannot be correct all of the time. I don't know about your personal circumstances. So take this as not as financial advice, but maybe as a little bit of inspiration to further do your own research. So furthermore, of course, everything I'm telling you here tonight is based on the assumption that things in the world develop normally, so that we don't have this guy coming around the corner here, a black swan event. By black swan, I mean something like a war escalating, a new pandemic with an even more deadly virus, or I don't know, aliens landing somewhere and enslaving us all. This is, of course, something we cannot take into account. So we have, as traders, investors, we always have to place our bets in a way that we assume that things are rather quite normally going to run. The biggest thesis here of tonight really is going to be, I think, 2024 will be a big year for so-called risk-on assets. Risk-on assets are especially stocks and crypto. So everything people like to invest in when they are searching for more, for a higher return on investment and are willing to take a higher risk. So for the stock markets, if we look at the S&P 500, for example, on average, you can accept a return of around about 8% for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that can be much higher or much lower, depending on when you invested, of course. I think, and I'm going to show you, of course, the reasons for my theory here, that 2024 is going to be a big year for stocks and crypto, and actually one of the occasions that do not occur so often, where you can really lay the foundation for building up your own wealth and become more independent, maybe even being able to quit your job, your 9-to-5 job. Again, I'm going to give you very crystal clear assumptions here, and my main assumption here why I think that we are going to see a great year in terms of development for stocks and crypto is what I've seen last year in terms of inflation rate. Let me adjust this here a little bit for you first. Since I changed the resolution, it slipped away a little bit. And as you might have noticed, like really in the past, so to say, 2 years already, everything really, everybody is looking at, or market participants are looking at, in terms of economic data is really inflation, right? However, I noticed in 2022, in September 2022, when we start dipping down, so the orange line of this chart is inflation from over 9% to then 9.1%, I asked myself, in the past, when we had a very high inflation rate in the USA, once that started to break down, what did this mean for the stock market? And I very quickly saw whenever we were over 6% in terms of inflation rate, I went back all the way to 1969 here, that corresponded sooner or later with the stock market. Of course, not always on the point that you really caught the bottom, but sooner or later, plus minus a couple of months or weeks, that was the bottom of the stock market. You can see this here on the blue line, which is the S&P 500. So I asked myself, why should it be different? And in a time where actually nobody really wanted to buy stocks, we were sub 4,000 in the S&P 500. We're approaching 3,600, 3,500 there back then. I said, I want to buy stocks now. I want to shift from US dollar cash into the stock markets again and into the cryptocurrency market, so into risk on assets. And I think this is something that is going to continue for this year. Why is this going to continue? Well, I said it already earlier. At the moment, everybody is just looking at inflation. So normally when you maybe on a Monday morning open your economic calendar and have a look at what types of economic data are coming out that are going to maybe show me how the economy is doing, that is going to shape the markets. You normally see quite a lot. You see consumer confidence. You see especially something we are going to see again on Friday being released, the so-called non-farm payrolls, so the US job data. And this is normally shaping the market. However, for the last really 1.5 years, market participants are only looking at how is the inflation rate? Is it coming down? What does that mean for the US interest rate environment? And the US interest rate environment, which I'm going to show you here now, this is the yellow line, is we've all noticed that with high inflation, the weapon that the Fed has against high inflation is to raise the interest rate. So they raised them from basically 0% to now 5.5%. 5.5% has stayed now since September. So they kept it unchanged there. Why? Because inflation came down to now around about 3%. Remember, the Fed has a target here of 2%. And I'm pretty sure over the course of the next 5 to 6 months, we are going to probably approach those 2%. Not this month, not next month. Is going to take still some time and maybe also struggle. More on that, however, later, what that means short term for the next 6 months. So we've reached something that I like to call the terminal rate. Terminal rate, why? Because the interest rate environment with 5.5% is now higher than the inflation rate, which is currently at 3%. Hopefully soon under 3%. And you can see this actually reflected here if you look at this wonderful tool by the CME group called the CME FedWatch tool. You can see what market participants currently are expecting for the next interest rate meeting. So the next one is going to be on the 31st of January. Currently, 87% of market participants are expecting that interest rate levels stay the same. But if once you go down here to March, you can see then that the majority, already 70% of market participants are expecting that rates will go down by 0.25%. Even further, here in May, we already are expecting 4.75% to 5% in interest rate environment here. I'm personally a little bit more conservative. I think we are going to see maybe the first interest rate cut by 0.25% here on the 1st of May. What that means for the markets in between, be a little bit patient. However, remember also what that means. So when the Fed is lowering interest rates, it becomes, of course, for the individual investors less attractive, for example, to park your money with a bank, because the bank is then going to pay you a lower interest rate, right? And you don't want this. You want, of course, to earn a little bit more. So you are going to shift your money from, for example, your bank or from long-term federal bonds back into more risky assets, which are going to be the stock markets, which is going to be cryptocurrencies. What else do we have around this time, 1st of May? Correct, we have a Bitcoin halving. So we could potentially have a constellation here where we see the interest rate environment going down again, which is good for cryptocurrencies, as we just learned. And we are going to see also the Bitcoin halving, which is going to cut the 10-minute supply of Bitcoin from 6.25 to 3.125, probably around late April of 2024, so around about 4 months down the road. This is why I think we possibly, with an environment like this, could see something like this in the S&P 500, probably here around maybe late May to December of 2024, a target somewhere around 5,400 to 5,600 points. At the moment, as I'm doing the stream here, we're currently at 4,750 points. So there's quite some way left, of course. This, however, is not going to be a straight road. So please do not expect something like this here. Here we go. Something like this. So something like straight up. Of course, this is not going to happen. This is going to be something that's going to develop over time. So once we go over here, we might see a little bit of a bull run until 5,000, then go back, test this, then support again until finally, slowly but steady, we go into this target zone. So we could expect here for the first half of 2024, or at least until the beginning of May, until late of April of May, maybe, slightly bullish markets, a slightly bullish stock market, but also not too much. And I could imagine that people can get frustrated about this. Maybe you're going to hear more again about, recession is coming now, the stock market is not going to perform, and so on, yada, 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 because people in those sideways range tend to get very impatient. Remember when Bitcoin was trading there between 20 and 25, or between 25 and 31,000, and people became tiring. The interest in that asset class in Bitcoin and in stocks, as a matter of fact, faded away kind of. So this is something I could imagine happening too. Why? Because I think at the moment the market is too early in expecting a rate cut. So I'm expecting the first rate cut on the 1st of May. The market currently is expecting already latest 20th of March, so in the second Fed gathering for this year, already a rate cut. I'm not thinking this happened. I think this is something that could disappoint the market, thus the sideways range and a little bit volatility to the upside and downside. Of course, we can also have a look here at the Nasdaq, which, in my opinion, if you want to invest in risk-on asset, is more the attractive market. Of course, pretty much the same picture like the S&P 500. They're not diverting that far from each other. I could see here a target for 2024 that is between 18.5 and 20,000. So round about the same performance, a little bit of more performance than the S&P 500. And I think if I would have to choose now, as a matter of fact, I have to choose, and I did choose already the stocks that are kind of going to carry this, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500 going down. There are 3 stocks that I really want to point out here. The first one is, and this is going to tie into my Bitcoin prediction, of course, Coinbase. Why Coinbase? Coinbase has had quite a journey since the IPO. Basically, it was just going down, down, down. Recently, it has recovered a lot again. And Coinbase is attractive because it's like one of the most, you can say what you want about Coinbase. I know opinions about Coinbase are quite diverse, especially amongst crypto enthusiasts. But they are one of the more reliable exchanges. and they are especially also going to be one of the exchanges or the major player here in being the custodian for the Bitcoin spot ETF that is probably, I'm 95% sure about this, just around the corner. Rumors here are even that it might get approved as soon as this week, maybe until Friday. I think the more realistic here is something like the 10th of December, 10th of January, maybe mid of January. However, we have all, excuse me, all those major players, of course, ready here. Primarily Bitrock, of course, Van Eck, Valkyrie, Fidelity, Franklin Investments, and so on and so forth, to offer Bitcoin investments to their client base and especially also to institutional investors. This could lead to a lot of money flowing into the crypto sphere, maybe not at once, but slowly and steady. And with Coinbase being the custodian for the major players here, I think they are going to rake in a large amount of the business as well, which should do, amongst the price development of Bitcoin itself during for the halving, do very well for Coinbase. Another one also related, of course, here to Bitcoin is MicroStrategy. If Bitcoin goes up, MicroStrategy goes up. I mean, we just saw them purchasing again a couple of hundred of millions of Bitcoin. One of the major holders of Bitcoin, Michael Saylor, of course, one of the advocates of Bitcoin. Again, I really see this year also MicroStrategy potentially going back to $1,000 here. And we're just talking about 2024, as we all know, and I'm going to show you later also the bull run probably for cryptocurrencies is probably going to be longer than just 2024. Last but not least, if you want to capitalize on AI and you want to do so in stocks, I think there's no way around Nvidia at the moment. Although short term, there's still this gap here that we might close. Not my favorite pick, not one I'm really investing in myself. That's why I'm not giving you a target here. But if you are more into stocks, not so much into cryptocurrencies, and you say, I want to capitalize on this AI trend we are seeing, I think the Nvidia stock is the one to do it. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. And I said it just now, halving is not so far away anymore, just about 4 months. I've said in the past year, over and over again, in the past 1.5 years almost, for me, the bull market, a new bull market in Bitcoin already starts 18 months prior to the halving. You cannot find this on this channel because I said this on a channel I built up for a YouTube channel I built up for a broker a time ago. And but of course, you can still find the video there. And what we see in those 18 months prior to the halving is what you see here in those blue arrows. We normally have a sideways range, but we are trending up. And this is exactly what we've done here in the past 14 months already. So we should end up by the halving here. Normally, if we look at the price of Bitcoin, we put a so-called logarithmic regression over it. Normally, we end up at this purple line here. And if I extend this purple line to the halving of 2024, it says, well, the price should be around $55,000. I said also 14 months ago, I think for the halving, the price is going to be somewhere around $40,000 to $50,000. Well, I was laughed at for that back then. Guess I was right. Actually, price is front running this now a little bit. So again, also here, a little bit careful. I think price front running this a little bit. So this could mean over the course of the next 6 months that also Bitcoin, we're going to see more of a sideways move. And then a month prior to the halving, the price may be ticking up really to 50 or 50,000, $55,000. A lot of people obviously hoping there at the moment for the Bitcoin spot ETFs to really bring like a lot of dynamic, a lot of demand into the markets. I mean, I'm reading there on social media targets in 2024 for Bitcoin of 100,000 or 250,000 or even $1 million. I'm a little bit more conservative. I mean, as much as I would like to see Bitcoin at $1 million this year, I think we are going to see Bitcoin maybe with a new all-time high this year, which probably would be around 80,000. So round about doubling the price from here, not quite 90% up from here, which is also a good return on investment. However, there are, of course, altcoins also that you altcoins that you can invest in. That means also, of course, that we could see Ethereum with a new all-time high, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Difference just for 2024 here, of course. Probably the bull market is going to extend into 2025. Normally, the bull market lasts between 12 and 18 months, so it should minimum last until April of 2025. However, of course, we're talking on this stream here today about 2024. So yeah, that's it for Bitcoin. My price target for Bitcoin for 2025, that is, I just said for 2024, I would expect something like 80,000 US dollars, maybe 2025, somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 plus US dollars. And I know this might seem a little bit conservative when reading online things like 500K, a million, or 10 million, and so on and so forth. However, of course, Bitcoin also is just one big, of course, part of the whole cryptosphere. The real gainers, of course, later on in the bull market are then going to be altcoins again. However, my personal top picks for altcoins, the top 4 or 5 altcoins, I'm going to share on a different video. This will take also maybe 20 or 30 minutes to explain. So I thought it's a little bit too much today for the more general forecast. This video probably is going to come out next Friday. So you might want to leave me a like and especially subscribe so you don't miss that video on my top picks for altcoins. However, be aware that altcoins always should be only a very small percentile of your investment, to foreshadow here a little bit of things. So yeah, for the next 6 months, to summarize here things a little bit again for you, things are not going to move here in a straight line. We are not going to see, like so many people wishing out there, let me say, we're probably not going to see like things go crazy. For example, Bitcoin here, it's shooting all the way up to 70,000, then down to 65, and then to the moon, basically. That's probably not going to happen. I expect that the thing that we most of the time see on the market, buy the rumor, sell the news. So once most market participants realize that there is not so much immediate demand coming from the ETS, from the Bitcoin ETS, that the price will rise within a week to 60,000 or whatever, that we will see a little bit of disappointment in the market, that we might see a sideways range for 2 to 3 months again, and then 1 month prior to the halving, things are going to pick up a little bit. We are going to see a mini bull run again in Bitcoin. Directly after the halving, a little bit of sell pressure. You need to be patient then, maybe for 2, 3, 4 months, and then the bull market probably is really going to kick in with 5, 6, 7, 8 really strong green monthly candles in a row. However, of course, this is something I'm going to report on during the year, of course. So if you want to stay updated, subscribe to the channel. I'm broadcasting new videos, not only live streams, of course, every week, 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, that's about it for today. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Fire them here below the video. I'm more than happy to answer them. Until then, make sure not to put your money on just one horse. Stay calm out there. Always use a stop loss. Happy trading, happy investing, and again, a happy 2024 for you. Take care and bye.